Welcome to Formosa Dream Chasers.
We're your hosts, Mary Ann
and Ching-en.
Please join us as we explore the journeys amazing people take in pursuit of their dreams.
And get insights from their experiences.
Let's hit the road
and get started.
Hello and welcome to Formosa Dream Chasers. Today we're honored to speak with Mr. Johnny Chen, Chen Bo-hao, a prominent metal artist in Taiwan's contemporary art scene who is dedicated to showcasing the island's rich cultural heritage and expressing beauty and meaning through his work.
Johnny's journey has taken him from graphic design to metal sculpture, blending his Taiwanese heritage with global influences. We are excited to learn more about his evolution as an artist and how he fuels his creativity. Johnny, thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Ching-en. Hello, Mary. Thank you for having me.
So let's start with your roots. Where did you grow up in Taiwan and what shaped your early passion for art?
So I grew up in Taipei City mostly, but my parents are from the south, from Changhua and Pingtung. So when I was younger, actually, I lived in Taoyuan, but went to elementary school in Taipei because my parents was working in Taipei. So I pretty much grew up in Taipei. And when I was a kid, a lot of kids would, watch cartoon whenever they are allowed. But I was never allowed to watch cartoon until I was a bit older. So my parents would let me watch Discovery Channel, Animal World movies, like Western movies and some like old goods, classic ones. So I think that's how I really got drawn into like this topic of wonder, in the world. Because from like say Discovery Channel, there's a lot of history channels, and Animal World, science and all these like knowledge really excite me back then. And so I was really fascinated about life, wonders of the world, and like cultural, mysterious topics and maybe mythologies as well.
And because you were so curious about the world, how did that express into art for you? Does that mean you would spend your time drawing or doodling or?
Yeah, I spend most of my time doodling and also observating, because back to, for example, Discovery, these kind of channels, they really did a great job about observing like habitats or people and the way they shoot. I think it really inspired me about how close you can look at things. So I think observation was like a big key in my creative process, because you see what you draw, and it allows me to see a lot of things that I think most people don't really recognize, but it's there. It's just like, do you have that sort of mindset to actually want to study things a bit thoroughly, with observations.
I'm just wondering, as someone also who grew up in Taiwanese family, like what was your parents' reaction to your hobby in creating art?
My parents are, I would say, they're brought up really as conservatives, but they both had a very open-minded thinking in terms of art. They do encourage me a lot. And even my mom, she's the biggest critic in my life. Like, she would support, but at the same time, they would also point out things that they think I can improve more. So it doesn't matter what I do, art or business. The main point is to have an honest living and do the best that you can at whatever you want to do.
Some parents, they allow their kids to go to, after school, they have these like art classes. Did you go to an art class, or was it like learning how to draw by yourself?
I think up till high school, I was pretty much learning by myself. There was an artist that's more established by then. It was my parents' friend. His name was Shen Bian, and he passed away a while ago. Rest in peace. But he has been a great inspiration in my life. And the way he introduced me into art, that was all like built on to my already existing interest, drawing. So like he acknowledged that, and I think when I was a kid I was more rebellious, and deep down I know I can draw the things I like, so I never wanted to go to a class because that sounds really boring.
I see.
But the artist Shen Bian, he guided me in a way that's a little different from for example, cram schools or these cliche art classes. He doesn't really limit my topics. He let me do whatever I want, but he sort of encouraged me by showing me more possibilities. Like, he wouldn't tell me to draw certain things. He would just be like, draw whatever you want. Let me know if you need anything, and let me show you something cool as well. And so I think that really kicked off the interest, and the interaction with him was always nice and comfortable.
So we know that you've shown a passion for drawing and art since childhood. And we also know that you attended Fuxing Trade and Art School, which was one of the first vocational school that started an arts program in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And was very good school in my parents' generation. I mean,
Yeah, man.
yeah.
They say
one of my aunts also attended school. So what was the story after you attend the school?
before that, I like to get into the story before I went to Fuxing Sangong. So since I started to draw even when in kindergarten, I think I somehow realized that art is a way of sending message. As I was saying, I was a bit of a tough one when I was a kid, so not the easiest to work with. And when I'm mad at certain people or teachers per se, I would draw horrible things about them. Yeah, because
Like on textbook?
yeah, on a sheet of paper.
Yeah.
And I watched some of the movies
Yeah.
back then that probably wasn't too friendly for kids, but my parents taught me to look at it as art. So there were some more realistic and brutal scenes, and I'll copy those scenes into the people who I don't like.
Yeah.
And I would purposely slit the drawing or the note onto the floor and just let people find out. It would always attract like huge reaction. People would be like, oh my god, this is the teacher, but who did this? And then the teacher would see it. I think one of the teachers like cried actually, because she probably didn't expect like a kindergarten kid to be so evil.
Okay.
Yeah, so drawing in class is my main thing growing up.
It was your outlet.
Yeah, it was my outlet.
Okay.
And so during middle school, I was studying in a boarding school in Ilan, and I was always just sketching, and I would do, I don't know, funny jokes, or I'll personally create a narrative for people. And so when I was in middle school, I went into the like 前段班. It's like
Top tier?
they kind of split the classes depending on your grade. So when I got into middle school, my grade was not too bad, so I was in the
More advanced
more
classes.
advanced class.
Okay.
But yeah, I kind of went lacking, so I went to the
Average.
the average class.
Okay.
But I was still drawing this whole time and not really paying attention into other topics too much. So this one day, when we're almost done with like middle school, we have to get ready for our big exam to get into the high school we wanted to. And quite frankly, I was not even confused because I didn't even think about it. I was just like, oh, just school. I just kept drawing every day. And one day, this one classmate just tapped on my shoulder. He was like, hey, if you like drawing so much, why don't you go to Fuxing Sangong? And I was like, what is that? And he literally said, oh, it's a place where you can just draw all day for class and your homework is literally drawing. I was like, no way. I was like, that's like too good to be true, because you would always get yelled at if I'm not like paying attention in class, just drawing and stuff. So in my mind, I was like, yeah, I think that's the one. Like drawing every day, no need to do other topics. That just sounds like dream come true for me. And so because of that, I went back to studying really hard just to make sure I can draw just for a living. So I think that kind of set my path. So after going back into, busting my ass studying, I got into Fuxing Sangong. And when I was studying for that, a lot of like elderlies, friends of parents or whatnot, they all told me to study in graphic design, because I think around that time, 2014, 15, that was when the computer industry really kind of boosted up to another level. We starting to have like more advanced smartphone and everything, and technology is just out there. And so a lot of people recommended me to study computer graphics, to do like graphic designs and stuff, to work with computers. They told me that's where the money lies. And so that's what I did. I was also drawn to design a lot. I like the concept of designing, to making works or pieces that had a function, purpose. I think that was very interesting, because we all probably heard or read about Da Vinci's story. I think just wow, just like ahead of his time sort of invention that really, really like interests me a lot. And so when I was studying there, it was honestly really fun, and I joined a lot. Because literally, it was drawing pretty much all the time, or any other skills is also associated with drawing and aesthetics.
What was the environment like? What kind of people do you study with?
When I went there, I think the first shock was not everybody can draw. and some probably didn't even want to study there. So as a kid who studied hard to go to Fuxing because I know my path is art or design, I had a lot of expectations and hope, thinking that, oh, all of these folks are gonna be like top tier, gonna probably have a lot of competition there. But turns out it wasn't. And so I guess when I first got in, when I first realized that not everybody could draw, I had a little ego boost. But later on, like, this changed because after like 2-3 years, some of the kids who didn't show as much talent at first, they probably found their own category. They were probably better at, let's say, other topics, other ways of creating.
I see. So,
but the environment, it was still kind of military structure school, but as Taiwanese kids, we're super used to that. So it's still really nice. It's just like a military art school. You just kind of just draw and train every day. Discipline. But I wasn't too bothered about none of these. It didn't really limit my creative process. I think in a way, it spiked it a bit more because when there's structure, you would want to sometimes, like, you would want to go against it. And I think more of that shock gives me more rebellious thought. And I think that really helps artists in some point, because when you have the urge of like, oh, I'm gonna prove myself against this and that, I want to fight the system or whatnot, it kind of works as a force to drive you ahead.
I actually have a question because people who are listening may be of different educational backgrounds. So the Fuxing Trade and Art School, just for clarification, maybe from both of you, you mentioned it's a vocational school, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess.
So how is it different from, let's say, a regular high school?
In regular high school, you have to study all the disciplines. Like, you have
academics,
to all the
right?
Academic subjects, and then you go to university or college.
Okay.
But in a vocational school, you chose a specialization or a profession to kind of nurture your profession for future career.
So is that an equivalent to like senior high and junior high together? How does that
It depends.
So the idea is, normal high school, you'll still study all the academics, and then in university, you can choose and pick the area or the categories of work that you want to focus in.
Yeah.
That's why people have like different majors starting from university. But a school like Fuxing Sangong, these kind of business and skill kind of school, they prepare you in advance. So back in, like you said, in your auntie's days, back then universities and college wasn't so
prevalent.
Yeah, not everyone can afford or have time to, further study in college or university. So back then they had a central role, because when you study at one of these schools, you literally learned everything you need to know for work. So you already like chose the topic, like graphic design. So you just, when you leave the school, you don't even need to go to university. You literally had to...
You can start working.
Yeah, you had the same amount. You pretty much have the same amount of knowledge and skills of, a graphic design major in universities.
I see.
Yeah.
Like for you, like how many years did you spend studying at Fuxing?
3 years, like everyone else. Was cutting really close too. 'Cause there are other topics besides drawing. Some of them are drawing me back. So
I see. Okay.
Okay. And we know that after Fuxing Trade and Art School, you attended Bangkok University. So why Bangkok?
Because I wanted to leave Taiwan. Living here for my whole life is nice and peaceful, but like I said, when you're inspired by the world and the unknown things, you really want to just go out there. I had a dream to just get out there and see the world for myself. And yeah, I mean, which kid doesn't want to, leave their house, fly solo out there? So I already know I wanted to study somewhere besides Taiwan, but we didn't really know where we could go. Plus, like, if I had to go to the US or Europe, that would be like a huge amount of cost. So back then my cousin was working, and she used to study in Thailand as well. So she recommended me to go to Bangkok University. And not knowing too much about Thailand, I thought that was a secondary choice from, let's say, Europe or the States. And so I had my doubts. But after I went there, it totally changed me. I guess the doubts really came from like ignorance of not knowing what's going on there. Because the people there in Bangkok, there's a lot of people from different countries who lives there or travel there. So that whole society is like a melting pot. And also Thai people are super proud about their own culture. I guess that's because some people say it's because they have never been colonized. So they always had this pride of like, being a proud Thai person. So that really, I think, elevated their art and design industry. That's what I think by observing the difference between Taiwan and Thailand.
Did you know how to speak Thai before you went there?
No, not at all.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you learned. I'm assuming you
Yeah.
learned. So you can speak Thai now.
Actually, I was studying an international program, so
Yeah.
we use English
Okay.
more, but for daily living and just to live there, I definitely had to like learn some
Okay.
Thai to like catch up. I didn't go to a long-term like Thai language course. I kind of just learned from friends
Okay.
and also vendors. And Thai people are just so nice. When you're buying something, you don't know how to say it. If you ask nicely, they'll teach you. And they'll help you to fix your tone as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. I want to know more about your journey. Like, was like to study art in Bangkok? Like, what was the art scene like, and what inspiration did you get from like maybe Thai society or Thai culture?
They're really creative and they also have a great sense of humor. I don't know if any one of you have ever seen a Thai commercial before. Yeah, they're
They're
great.
always funny.
They're all really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess like I said, it's a melting pot, and you get to see more than just pure Thai culture. There's a lot of like culture crashing and like different sort of art forms just collaging with each other in Thailand, and everything just seems more free. And like I said, the most important thing, I think it was the confidence of expressing your own identity. I think that's really different from Taiwan. Taiwan, I would say, from what I feel, most of the people have less confidence about their own roots. And we would think that, everything from abroad is just better. And Taiwan, let's just stay humble and let's learn more from like other countries. Obviously we should, but let's not get it wrong. We can still have confidence. I think that's super important. I don't know, I'm not sure starting from when that we had this like 自卑的心态. Just, we just don't really think that we're good enough. And I used to have that feeling too until I went to other countries. I heard stories from different people sharing their day-to-day or some of the cons and pros about their own country. And I started to realize that, wow, Taiwan is actually quite amazing. It's super peaceful and safe to live in.
If we are going to look at, for example, your background, right? You grew up here in Taiwan and then later you studied in Thailand. So how do you think these two backgrounds shape your artistic worldview?
So, like I was saying, growing in Taiwan was very peaceful, but people always want something they never have. So when I was in Taiwan, when I didn't know too much about, the world, I craved for like excitement and maybe chaos. And that made my personality a bit more rebellious in this more conservative society in Taiwan. As I was saying, I would think less about Taiwan as well. I don't know why. I think we just don't have that much confidence in general. Like, for example, we would always want to copy art or ideas from other country in terms of creatively speaking. But after seeing Thailand, that kind of changed my way of thinking in terms of art. So Taiwan probably brought me up as a more rebellious artist. I would draw things that's more extreme. That's not particularly everyone else's taste, because I think as an artist, I had this strong feeling of, I wanted to create something that's totally different.
You wanted to stand out.
Yeah, I wanted to stand out. I don't want to do like average topics or things that everyone else is doing. But yeah, after going to Thailand, seeing what I've seen and starting to appreciate, I think, my homeland a bit more, I think it's very interesting. You only start appreciating your own country or culture after you've seen other cultures.
After you leave.
Yeah. So I really wanted to bring that back here.
That's all the time we have today, but that's not the end of our conversation with Johnny. Next week, he'll share his story on how he got started using metal in his art. Thanks for listening.
This is Ching and Cho.
And Mary Ann Shoko.
See you guys next week. Bye.